Good afternoon. I hope we're feeling good today. It's a nice sunny day up here in the Mid-Atlantic. Just wanted to say how you doing. Once again, hey, like, comment, subscribe. So we can keep continue to push the conversation forward. So you saw what the title is. Winning doesn't necessarily cure all. So just because I am a diehard Eagles fan, but just wanted to let you know. Look at this. This is actually a replica trophy of the Vince Lombardi Trophy, right? So for in sports, I mean, I know depending on what sport you like more, it's a more coveted trophy. But this is a replica of the Vince Lombardi Trophy. All right, it's about 22, 23 inches tall, and the actual real one comes, the authentic one that each team gets each year, because each year each team is presented with a different one, unlike the Stanley Cup in hockey where they pass it around and just put the nameplate on it. This one is actually given to each team each year, and it's made by the jeweler Tiffany and Company. All right, and so they pay about, the NFL, all these leagues have different prices and secrets and stuff, but this cost is typically made out of sterling silver and other metals, and it costs anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 just for one. Now, of course, this replica didn't cost that much, but I'm sure you could find one. But yeah, and then what they do is they take it back and they engrave it with the names of the teams and the score and all that stuff on it a few months after the team wins the Super Bowl. But I brought that up because typically, using that as a prop, that typically is the pinnacle of success for people in that chosen sport, which in America now happens to be football, which is, I'd say, the largest sport. And the Super Bowl, definitely in America, is the largest event or watched event for sports wide in America and around the world, but definitely in America. So why do I say winning doesn't cure all? So what I want to do is that, I want to talk about a couple of different guys. Of course, they're in the NFL. And hey, look, I didn't play football past the eighth, ninth grade. So hey, what can I say? But what I can say is that attitude plays a part in a lot, right? You go out, you try to do something. Now, of course, being a professional athlete is way different than being just, a regular worker, working somewhere. But there's a lot of stuff about the work ethic that stays the same. Now, and I would say this: anyone that's in the NFL has definitely put in the work. They've had a lot of long, tireless nights. So what we're never going to do is that we're never going to critique as far as is the effort of these men. But what we do want to look at, especially as fans, because fans do make up a large part of the sports society. Whereas is that because hey, look at it like this: like we have Lincoln Financial Field here, right? Fits about 68,000 people. Nobody wants to play in front of nobody, right? So the fans add a certain dynamic to the game, and as fans, we certainly sometimes wonder certain things. So let's get started. First, I want to talk about Myles Garrett. Now, Myles Garrett, he's a defensive end, really great guy. Has over 100 sacks in the last however many 6, 7, 8 years of his career, and he's just a force to be reckoned with. And so, the Eagles, just coming off of a Super Bowl, thought, hey, this may be a good time to land a guy like this, put him next to Jalen Carter, some of the other guys, and even during Super Bowl week. And once again, because we always try to stay fact based around here. You can go back and just YouTube or Google Myles Garrett at the Super Bowl, discussing what he wanted his future plans to be. And a part of those future plans was that he said that he wanted to win at all costs. So once again, don't quote me on those words, but basically that's what he was saying. And he wanted to be in a winning situation. And he actually had. He was I don't know if it was Rich Eisen, but he was on one of the shows, and he was sitting, and the Super Bowl trophy was sitting right in front of him. And so he said that he told the host he'd be willing to take a pay cut. He'd be willing to do whatever he needed to do. Now, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't know his actual previous contract, but I believe he was making anywhere from 25 to 30 million dollars per year already. So money wasn't a thing, and he also stated that. He said, listen, at 29, 28, 29, what I want to do, I want to be able to focus on winning, right? So I want to, the money isn't an issue. And the host asked him, well, what if they were willing to renegotiate with you, give you a bigger contract? And he still said no. No, that's not what it is for me. At this stage, money is not the issue. And I feel like I can go somewhere else and make an impact and win a Super Bowl. That was his overall goal. He said was to win a Super Bowl, and he'd be doing whatever he's willing to do. So now, for those of you who don't know, although I know most of you do, that means typically a player will sit out. He'll choose to sit home or not report to training camp, or because a lot of these guys have workout bonuses, signing bonuses. So he just forfeit, and then in some instances, the team will start to fine the player for not showing up, for practice or other workouts. Okay, and definitely for not showing up to games. So the team will fine them and not pay them. So what happens is that the team has the team and the player has the decision to make, because technically the player is still under contract, so they have to do what they want to do. So how does this correlate to talking about winning doesn't necessarily cure all? Well, what happened was, and it was reported by the Associated Press. I know watching ESPN and getting getting the information directly off of the Associated Press website, is that they say that basically initially first the guy, he didn't want to talk to him. The owner of the Browns didn't want to talk to him at all. Basically it was going to be this stalemate. So can you imagine that? You telling your boss, hey, listen, I'm ready to put in my 2-week resignation. I know that I have been here and I know I've done a great job and everything, but I need to sit down with you and discuss with you what our next steps are going to be and can be. And so he said, nah, not meeting with you. Not meeting with you at all. Then, mysteriously, days later, come back. Now, Myles Garrett has agreed to, let's look it over here, because we want to make sure we're accurate. He agreed to a contract that's going to pay him roughly $40 million a year. Now, we know, the way they hook up signing bonuses, different things like that. And then also, he's to make guaranteed money. Now, what guaranteed money means is that this is the money that, even if something happens to him, this is the money that's guaranteed to him. Kind of like with basketball contracts, baseball contracts are fully guaranteed, football contracts are not. And it's primarily because there's a lot of guys and a lot of injuries that happen. So he has $122.8 million guaranteed. Now here's the big one right here. The overall potential of the contract, meaning I guess workout bonuses, signing bonuses, years played on the actual contract, can reach up to $204.8 million. So let me see. Did he win? Well, in this case, I'd say I think he probably won, right? So in this case, in his situation, winning as far as what he stated he wanted to do, winning on the field, because, in the NFL, things can change drastically. But, for most of us that watch regularly know that the chances of the Cleveland Browns, who have never won a Super Bowl, once again, no disrespect to Cleveland, because the Eagles went years without winning anything. So it can happen, right? But the chances of that happening do not seem is in his favor as if he would have gone to another team. Now, if he had gone to another team, would he have gotten that money? Who knows? Maybe he would have gotten closer to it. But geez Louise, $204.8 million, the potential windfall of money that you could do with that, on top of the money you've already made for your kids and everything. So, in a lot of people's minds, that can be looked at as a win. Hey, forget a Super Bowl ring, forget this trophy. That's already a win to him, right? So, I'm thinking to myself, in that case, does that winning cure all for him? Although he said that he wanted to go and, go to a contender, it's something to think about. But just like with a lot of stuff, it always comes back down to money. It always comes back down to money. And it's easy for any of us to say, you know what? I know I felt that way and I really wanted to go to a contender. But when somebody is willing to drop that kind of money on you, What do you do? What do you do? I mean, most of us, if we got offered, if we were about to leave and, say for instance, we were at 25, 26, $27 an hour, boss comes up to us and say, you know what? I like you. I'm gonna give you another $4 an hour. Guess what most of us would do? We'd stay. Unless it was just a situation that was just untenable. We just couldn't deal with it anymore. But most of us would stay. So think about that. Next, we want to move on to, for most of us, well, for me, the beloved Eagles. So today there was breaking news that they cut, and I can never get his name right, CJGJ, CJ Garner Johnson. And real good heartbeat to the defense as far as just a real dog. And, a dog, especially in sports, is like that guy that you can count on to be, almost enforcer-like, almost like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Don't worry about it. I got y'all back. This is going to happen. I'm going to sacrifice my head, my body. I'm going to sacrifice. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to make sure that we win this game, right? So that's one guy. Another guy is A.J. Brown. Unbelievable receiver, I believe, to me. Glad he's with us. I think he's the top 4 or 5 receiver in the league, if not higher than that, because he's consistent and we don't win anything without him. Love Devontae also. But sometimes you would say to yourself, these guys just won a Super Bowl. They just won this beautiful trophy that they were in the locker room passing around, having a great time, kings of the world. And guess what? In about 4 months before the season starts, they're going to sit down and they're going to get these beautiful, gaudy championship rings that say, hey, listen, I'm a champion forever. Yeah, you can watch it on tape, but hey, when I walk in, look at this ring. Look at the pictures and the videos of me holding this trophy. And so you would say, hey, look, you guys have been playing football. I know I started playing football maybe 5 or 6 years old, something like that. And you would say to yourself, hey, look, I have reached the pinnacle of success. And in the country I'm in, and in most of the world, there's nothing bigger than this one game called the Super Bowl. And we won. We won. Yeah, we were there 2 years ago and we lost. But this time we went there and we won. We did it. Right? Right? Don't they say winning cures all? When you're not winning, you sit and talk all of this trash, you do all of this other kind of stuff. What happened? So A.J. Brown, I know he kind of cleared it up a little bit, but I know he was saying on a couple of podcasts or whatever he put out, said that, it wasn't how he felt it was going to be. He wasn't what he thought it was going to be. And I remember having a discussion with a buddy of mine, Ray, and, his take was kind of like, a little different than mine. But my thing is that here is where different attitudes, and he may not have meant it like this, but as a fan, people that buy tickets, people that run around like lunatics buying replica Super Bowl trophies and Super Bowl rings, by the way, I gotta wait till the design comes out. People who go in the cold, who stand out, and yeah, they're just fans, they're just average people. But is there an obligation from the guys? Is there an obligation from the team to say, hey, listen, you have every right to feel how you want to feel, AJ, just like any of you guys do. If it didn't feel the way you felt, like, great. But hey, man, how about save that for us for next off season, all right? Or before the season starts, and put it with your hunger. Not to tell anybody what to say. But when the fans started to attack that, he kind of got a little upset about it. But we all know, anybody around sports knows, in Philadelphia, it's a different type of animal when it comes down to media, when it comes down to fans. We all know this, and he should know that, because and I'm glad he did it. I didn't like the way he did it, but when they asked him how he felt, and he just said passing, right? So it kind of changed the trajectory of the season, because I think it forced guys to come out talk to each other, do whatever was going on in the locker room, because we couldn't have a collapse like we had the year prior. So, great player. Sometimes with these guys, just bad timing. CJGJ, great guy, young guy. I think he's 26 or 27 years old. Great guy. As far as player, he was here with us when we went to the Super Bowl. Then he winds up leaving. Then when he left, he basically said, forget the fans. You can look it up. I don't know exactly what he said, but basically that was his sentiment after he left. Then he actually went to the NFC Championship with the Lions, although they lost to the 49ers. He did that, then came back this year, and he was able to win the Super Bowl. So this is a guy that's obviously highly talented. He's a dog. They won he's won the Super Bowl, and he's been in the last 3 NFC championships and 2 Super Bowls out of the last 3 years. But sometimes, and I don't know any of this kind of stuff or anything. I think what's his name, Darius Slay, Big Play Slay, kind of alluded to how he had given shots out to everybody else in the secondary, especially the starters, with the exception of CJGJ. So CJGJ went back and said something, responded, and it was a negative response by all means. Then, so the fans had something to say. So then A.J. Brown chimed in, and then he had some more stuff to say. And I'm thinking to myself, good God Almighty, you just won a Super Bowl. You just won a Super Bowl. They haven't even engraved the name into the trophy yet. They haven't even started designing the Super Bowl ring yet. Sometimes you start to think to yourself, what in the world are we arguing about here, really? There are 31 other teams that would love to, especially Dallas Cowboys, who would love to hoist this trophy. But I thought winning cured all. I thought when you were a winner, when you were at the top of the mountain, you felt something. You were now a different man. This is something that you and those other 52 guys that are in the locker room can never be taken away from you. And as a fan, the millions of us who root for different teams, we feel the same way. We don't want that joy taken away from us. We don't cash checks that, if you're making $25, $35 million a year, so that's roughly $2 million a game. I know every NFL player doesn't get that, but we're talking about a couple of big time stars. But, we don't get to cash those checks. We don't have to run out there and take the abuse that your body has to take. And we get that. But guess what? That doesn't mean that our hearts and our minds aren't into it. Right? So, what I'll say in closing is this, is that men, we have to decide how we conduct ourselves. And I've heard a couple of people say it. One of my buddies, Kev, always says it. Why would you want to be a sore winner? It's funny. You got some people that make it in life. And like I said, just for us as fans, it just drives us crazy. We cry, we jump up and down, we go and raid Broad Street and do all these other different things because we love the feeling of being a winner. And if at least just for a couple of months, just for a little while, and I know it's different now with social media, but just for a little while, we want you to feel the same way too as the player. So once again, let me know how you feel. Put in the comments. Let me know. And like I said, hopefully, these guys, because to me in sports, winning the Super Bowl, and I know every other, sport will say it, but to me, winning the Super Bowl is the hardest thing to do because you need 11 guys on one side doing their job. You need 11 guys on another side, totally different, doing their job. And you also need a kicking team and special teams to hold the other team and make field goals to do their job. So in the NFL with football, American football, there's a lot of work to do. Just like us and a lot of our attitudes, there's a lot of work to do. But hey, until tomorrow, you think about it. I'll holler at you.